Good evening. Welcome to the Kelly Wells Show. It's the season premiere of the Kelly Wells Show, where we talk U-Pike basketball. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, joined by the coach of our University of Pikeville Bears, Kelly Wells. And Coach, off to a 5-1 start. We're mid-November, 11 newcomers. How is this team starting to come together?
It is a process, just like tonight coming in here. We didn't have our best practice coming in, and some of that is learning each other and learning to come each day prepared. And all of our guys are from different walks of life.
Right.
And, some have been in programs where you've had to work hard every day, and some you just, be honest with you, didn't have to work very hard. So it's been a crossover in that regard. But our guys have really done a great job. They hang out together. They come to my house. Actually, we did last night. We had a team get together at the house and watch Monday Night Football together, and just built some more camaraderie. And this bunch has been very good. And of course, when you've got leaders like Elijah and Josh, who are great personalities as well as great people, that really aids in the transformation. And being guards, they understand kind of what I want. So it's been good. They've been coaches on the floor and coaches off the floor that have really helped with that communication.
But as we see this team in late October and in early November, this is nowhere near where you want this team to be.
Oh, we haven't even touched the hill yet to climb up. I mean, we've got a really good, talented team, and we've got a very deep team, but we're just, defensively, we're nowhere close to where we want to be. And it's not just us, it's everybody in the country, because these new rule changes have really made it next to impossible to play defense. So we've really had to adapt what we're trying to do. And offensively, we're still the same team. We're still going to do the same things, with the exception of now we can throw the ball inside and get baskets that we haven't been able to do in years past. And that's a great resource. But defensively, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to be and where we're going to be. But we're going to be the same old get up and down, run the floor, and try to get in the hundreds as much as we can offensively, and just have to get that defensive piece put together.
Sure. You talk about the rule changes and the way the games have been officiated, and we've seen that. The hand check is gone. We've seen players basically not using the hand to push or to gain an advantage, but we've seen players actually just rest a hand on a player's back, and it's been called a foul. Is that a positive or a negative?
There's both. There's some of each, and I get frustrated because it's unfair to the players, because they really don't give them an opportunity to play defense. I understand the reasoning, I understand the rules, and it's not the official's fault. It is the rules that we're playing with. But you legitimately, if you watch any games, there's 100 free throws in a game, and
sure.
Legitimately, if you don't have 10 to 12 players that are good, those guys aren't going to be on the floor. You're going to get fouls if you just participate.
Right.
A lot more zone defenses are being played. Mm-hmm. A lot more sagging mans or presses have kind of gone out the window, and those are things that I really enjoyed in the basketball game. And yeah, it did become too physical, and it did need to have some restrictions. But I think that the rules committee have really disrespected the officials, just saying, listen, you guys just have zero control over the game, so we're going to control it for you.
Right.
And they have no decision making. Every drive to the basket's a foul. If you slide over to take a charge, it's a block. They really taken the decision making out of the officials' hands, and it's not the officials' fault. It's the rules committee that have put these in place. And I think they did a statistic that the scoring hasn't increased any, but the free throw percentage or free throw attempts have like tripled from where it was. And that's, as a fan of the game of basketball that I love, that has generated my career, and I found my wife playing basketball. I mean, it's just been my whole life. I just hate to see it be changed so greatly. Pretty soon it's going to be playing horse, just like football's become. In a lot of ways, it's going to be 7-on-7 before long. And it's just frustrating because of the new rules.
Yeah, and we've seen rule changes in years past, and they will be emphasized early in the season. As you head into Mid-South Conference play, do you think these are going to stick? Do you think this is the way we're going to see games called all year?
I think definitely the veteran officials and the ones that are really established and are confident will continue to do it. Now, there will be games where you'll have a crew that just isn't strong and won't do that, but that's not the intent. I mean, I think the veteran guys will stick to this. This is what they've been commanded, or they'll lose games. They won't be able to officiate, and you're seeing it on every level. I mean, it's just the highest level to the lowest level, and it's something we got to adapt to, and our players will, and I will as well. It's just not something I love to do.
Right. Ranked 7th in the country in the preseason poll, Life University 23rd. You take a loss on the road at Life University. How important are ratings to Kelly Wells mid-November?
Well, personally, to me, it absolutely never is important to me in regards to what we do. We're going to continue to work each day to try to improve. Now, when it gets to late February, the ratings are very important, and you have to work your way to the top. And one of the things we've been blessed, we've established a program now that people see us coming and they mark their schedules, and that's what I try to tell our guys at Life. Life was as good as they have ever been when we went down there and played them, and we weren't ready for it. Our guys had the deer in headlights look. We couldn't make a free throw. We were throwing the ball and hitting each other in the back of the head with it. Just weren't very good. And we've established a program now is where people mark their schedules to see us coming, and we have to be very, very good. So in that regards, the rating has kind of made us open our eyes a little bit better. But late February, we want to be at the top of that poll and as high as we can be. And we've got to do a great job in our conference to get there.
Absolutely. And of course, you go to Life, a game on the road, and the first game on the road outside of the Yum Center taking on Louisville. Were you a little surprised that your team was beaten that badly? Turned it over, I think, 25 times in that one. Were you surprised that maybe being on the road affected them?
There were probably some elements to it that we learned differently, and each team's different, and some guys can sit around for a little bit and then be ready to play. Other guys have to be active all day, and we figured some things out with our team. But, for the fact that we missed 25 or had 25 turnovers, missed 16 free throws, they shot over almost 60% from the field. We didn't guard anybody, and we still had a chance to win the game.
Right.
We played as bad. You couldn't tell my team to go out there and play any worse than we played, and they couldn't play any better, and still had opportunities down the stretch to win the game. I mean, it was just a disaster in all facets of the game. The scores table the horn was blowing during the game 4 or 5 different times. I got a technical foul. One of our players got a technical foul for little to nothing. Just was one of those nights that we weren't going to win no matter what we did, but we were bad. But it's encouraging to know that, well, we can still win games when we play terrible. So,
Sure. 11 newcomers, we talk about that. Bringing a team together over the course of a season, building camaraderie, Monday Night Football at the coach's house. Those are things that will take care of themselves, but it takes time. Are you concerned at all? This has not been a great free throw shooting team as a whole over the course of 6 games thus far. Are you concerned at all because of the way this team shoots free throws?
I definitely am. We shot 39% one night.
Right.
That's an alarming concern for a coach. And, I know everybody says, well, coach just haven't practiced free throws. Well, it's not that simple. We practice free throws. We practice free throws a lot, and it's a level of concentration, stepping up the free throw line, and we've got guys that shoot the ball extremely well that just get out of rhythm a little bit and maybe lose a little bit of confidence, and I'm not going to make a major deal of it, but we do certainly talk about our free throw shooting and the importance of that free throw shooting, and each guy's got to make 100 free throws a day over and beyond practice, and we're just going to keep hammering home and keep working on their structure and their shot structure. But we've got a good free throw shooting team overall. We certainly haven't showed it in the game yet.
And the more we pound on it, the more they hear, and the more it gets into confidence. We've seen some guys step to the free throw line, and we could almost, as broadcasters, see that his confidence was shaken, and it's gotten into his head. That affects a shooter.
It does, and you just. The thing about being a shooter, and I can kind of relate a little bit to these guys in regards to that was kind of what I did when I played, and you've got to move on to your next shot. If you miss one, and whether you shoot an air ball or you shoot it in the basket, you move on to the next shot, and rhythm is positive just as rhythm is negative. If you get into a negative rhythm, you got to shoot your way out of it, and but in the whole time you have to be confident, and some of our guys may have their confidence shaken a little bit, but we're not going to harp on it so much that it becomes an issue.
How do you rebuild that confidence at the free throw line? Maybe a guy has tremendous confidence in all other aspects of his game, but when he steps to the free throw line, things get quiet, and you can see things are clicking in his head, and that confidence obviously has been shaken. How does a coach go about rebuilding that?
Well, if I worried about every click that went on some of our guys' heads, I'd be up a lot of nights. But the biggest thing is repetition. We really work a lot on repetition. Your rhythm, your form, everything should be mechanically the same every time you step to the line. And really, you've got to zone all that other stuff out, and you've got to dial in on your shot. And I was always taught as a youngster that anytime you struggle shooting the ball from the field, go to the free throw line. That's where your proper mechanics are. And our guys have good mechanics. It's just a matter of getting them to get over that little negative threshold that they're in sometimes. But really, for the most part, we've got 2 guys that are struggling a little bit from the line. The rest of the guys have really shot it pretty well.
Yeah. Get past that. We head into conference play. We'll talk more about that during the course of tonight's program, conference play already mid-November and we head to conference play. That's the way it is. It used to be second semester, but the Mid-South Conference growing. 5-1, mid-November, heading to Thanksgiving, heading to conference play. This team, I know we had tremendous expectations for preseason. Do you still have those same expectations for this team, or have they changed? Have they exceeded your expectations? Or are they not quite where you thought they might be?
Well, I think we've got a championship team. There's things we've got to iron out. There's things we've got to dial in better on. But, you know, we're 5-1, and we lost to Life on the road, who was 23rd in the country, and we're still playing for the exact same thing we were playing for a month ago, and that's the national championship. And it's day by day, and this is a long, long season, and our guys have a long way to improve, which is encouraging. If we were playing great basketball right now, I'd really be concerned about the finish. So we definitely have room to improve as we go. But, you know, I don't like to lose any games, but you know, a wake-up call in November right now might not be the worst thing.
Absolutely. Coach Kelly Wells, head coach of the University of Pikeville men's basketball program, off to a 5-1 start and heading to St. Catherine this Thursday night. It's the beginning of Mid-South Conference play, and of course you'll have it on Z1075. We'll continue with more of the Kelly Wells Show presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. The Kelly Wells Show, where we talk all things U-Pike men's basketball. I'm Andrew Joyce, joined by our coach, Kelly Wells. Picked up your 150th win here at the University of Pikeville, and you and I talked post-game after that 150th, and I'm looking for 450.
Well, if I can hang in there and we keep getting good players, and you'll get to meet one of the reasons why we have good players, and Coach Compton's going to get on here, and that's just a total tribute to having good players and good staff, and I'm as pleased as I can be here at the University of Pikeville, and hopefully we can get to 450 more wins. I'll be an old man, and so will you, but we'll certainly take that.
Indeed. And I talk to people in the community, and a lot of times I'll have the question asked me, how long can we keep Kelly Wells? And I'm going to ask the question of the coach. I know your family's happy here. You're happy here. Family's important. The first press conference you had here, I asked you about returning to Eastern Kentucky, and family was a part of that answer as well.
Yeah, that is the answer. And as long as I'm with my family, that's most important to me. And kids are in a great school system. We work in a great school, and the sky's the limit. I know we've won a national championship here, but there's a lot more to be done here, and we want to see it through. We're excited about the opportunity here, and the people make the University of Pikeville what it is in the town as well. And we're as pleased as we can be, and as long as they'll have me, this is where I want to coach.
Interesting schedule this year. This Thursday night, on the road at St. Catherine, then Saturday at Campbellsville. A couple of Mid-South Conference games, and then you're not back in the conference until January. A little bit of an odd schedule, but quick scouting report on St. Catherine and Campbellsville. Well,
that's what makes it so important. We need to get both of these victories, and I basically bribed our guys today with some giveaways, some different things. We've never went on this road trip and swept St. Catherine's and Campbellsville, and this is something we need to do. And with a break, it just gives you the ultimate momentum going through if you can take care of business. And these are probably two of the toughest places in our league to play. I mean, Campbellsville is playing great basketball. St. Catherine's playing well. They're a little different than they have been years past. They're a little smaller, but they're as skilled as any team we play. They remind you a lot of Life, who gave us fits. So they drive the ball well, and if we don't stay down and guard, they'll get to the basket, and then it becomes the hand check rule and the free throw shooting, and they've already sold the arena. They're trying to do everything they can. I say arena loosely. Their gym, and it's going to seat maybe 900 people, and you'll dress in a classroom and all of that. But they'll have it packed. It'll be rowdy. They're having all the giveaways they can possibly get together, and my guys kind of looked at me a little crooked when I told them that, but I'm excited about that. If they think we're the best team that's ever going to come into their place, we've worked hard. We've done some good stuff. So we're excited about that opportunity. I need to go in there and take care of business, and I'm anxious to see if our guys are mentally tough enough to handle that kind of environment.
Right. On the road at Life, you get a loss, you've got a road game behind you. Obviously, as an outsider looking in, that helps prepare your team for the next road trip. This is not your first one.
I'm not a big fan of losing at any point, whether it's on the road or it's home or learning lessons. You can keep all the learning lessons you want to from losses. I'd rather learn from a win, and we just didn't take care of business. But it was a wake-up call for our guys. I think they really learned some things that they need to correct on, and we've got to be tougher than we are, and that's kind of been our motto is togetherness and toughness. And the two things that we're not very good at is our toughness and our communication, and I consider our togetherness being communication. Sure. So we've got to work on those things and continue to get better at them. We have shown some signs of improvement, but it's certainly not at a championship level yet.
Right. We still have championship expectations. Coach Kelly Wells, head coach of the U Pike Bears. We'll step out and take a break. We'll talk with you again, and we'll step out and take a break. We'll talk with assistant coach Ty Compton next on the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in, the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, and the U Pike men's basketball program off to a 5-1 start, heading to Mid-South Conference play Thursday on the road at St. Catherine, Saturday at Campbellsville, and joined now by assistant coach Ty Compton, a part of the program for a few years now. And Ty, always a pleasure to have you here. Welcome back to the Kelly Wells Show.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
We have folks tuned in, the season premiere of the 2013-14 edition of the Kelly Wells Show. And for those that are just tuned in and are new to the U Pike program, let's talk about Ty Compton and how you arrived at the University of Pikeville.
I guess this starts my 5th year at Pikeville.
Right.
As a coach or in involvement with the program, 6 years overall. I came as an undergraduate student from Grundy, Virginia, not very far away. Went to school here for a year, then got in with Coach Wells, and he was, gracious enough to let me in as a student assistant, and the rest is history. It's kind of been a role increase every summer since, and now we're sitting here going into our 5th year.
Talk about increased responsibilities, role changes within the program. Let's go back to Ty Compton, the basketball player. Who were some influences in your playing career as you grew up?
My dad coached, actually my mom and my dad coached all the way through growing up. Dad did a lot of AAU stuff, men's and women's. My mom coached a little bit on the high school level at Grundy. Playing wise, played at Grundy. Was built a little bit more for football.
Sure.
Basketball,
I've seen some team pictures actually.
I played 4 years, started 4 years of both sports, but football was my thing, and I went to play football at Kentucky Christian University out of high school, and just decided that wasn't me. So
right.
I came back, and basketball was what I grew up with, always wanted to be part of, and that's what I got involved with.
When did you decide you wanted to go into coaching?
I think early, just didn't really know how to go about that.
Sure.
Everybody, you go to college, and most people don't think about getting into coaching when they go into college. Got my degree, but as I got here, got to see how Coach Wells did things, got to see the program that Pikeville had, and realized that may be a real avenue for me. So, once I dove all in and decided to commit myself to that, and it's worked out.
You've been around high school coaches, and you've been around a college basketball program. How different is it, the amount of time spent coaching college basketball as opposed to high school?
It's a lot different. Some of your bigger programs, more serious programs, a lot of the programs here in Eastern Kentucky, take it pretty seriously.
Sure.
Back where I'm from, it's not, football's king. We have a great wrestling program at my high school, so basketball kind of took a back seat a little bit to those things. We didn't have quite the commitment that a lot of the high school coaches here show, but I can speak on the college side of things, and it's very time consuming. You're on the road constantly, watching film constantly, doing, there's always something to do. So.
Right. You talk about increased responsibilities in Coach Kelly Wells' program. I know I follow you on Twitter, Facebook, so I know Ty Compton is road weary. You're out scouting. How long have you been on the road scouting now that the season's begun?
It's not been so much. Film exchange has really gotten better, even in the short time I've been involved with college basketball. So we don't have to get on the road quite as much for scouting purposes, but, non-conference games, it's crucial. It's everybody, usually has a first game. We played 2 or 3 different teams. I think that we were their first opponent.
Right.
So you're left scrambling a little bit, trying to find information, find film. But, if we can catch a non-conference opponent on the road playing somewhere early, then we'll get out, go watch it, and make sure that we don't take a bad loss early.
How much better? Scouting, obviously, on film, you can gain some insight from that. But there are some old school coaches that we still see show up at the Expo Center. Paul Peck of Lindsey Wilson is one. He always shows up in person. Do you gain that much better perspective from seeing a team in person as opposed to film?
Your initial preparation, probably, yeah. You're able to get calls when you watch them live. You're able to kind of know what they're calling their sets, calling their plays. Sure. You can kind of get a feel for the team, how they play, what may be important to them, what the coaches are saying, what the players are saying. You can get plays and stuff like that off of film, but for calls and to be prepared initially going into the game and not having to wait for those calls in the game and not being caught off guard the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game until you can get those calls, that makes live scouting very important, and that's an advantage that NAIA has over some of the NCAA Division I institutions. You can't live scout at that level, so we take advantage of it.
Absolutely. And let's talk about players and scouting and game preparation for an opponent such as St. Catherine. Maybe you have film on them, maybe you don't. It's early in the season. Maybe you've seen what the best they have to offer is, maybe you haven't. But how much do the players see of St. Catherine before they arrive in St. Catherine on Thursday? And how much prep time does it take for the coaching staff to put together a game scouting report for the players to review and to look over and prepare for?
We're lucky enough to have myself and Matthew Taylor that works on scouts. We split it up, 2 conference games a week. We each take a scout.
Sure.
Coach Taylor has St. Catherine. I have Campbellsville for this week coming up, and the prep began as soon as our last game ended.
Right.
You can break up as many films as you want. We put together an edit. I think the St. Catherine edit is about 12, 13 minutes worth of player personnel, game, action, anything you can think of that may give them an idea of what St. Catherine is looking to do. Our paper scout has all those things that are on the edit on paper, plus some personnel decisions and kind of our game plan as well. So it's very, very detailed. We try to give them the most simple information possible and just kind of overload the coaching staff. That way we're prepared for anything, but we make sure that they get to see the guys at least 2 or 3 times before we play.
You ever get surprised by a team?
Absolutely. Coach Osborne at Georgetown Happy, he would change plays mid-season. He would change the name of plays mid-season. A couple other coaches in the conference have done that. You'll scout them early, first semester, and you'll think you've got them down pat, and then they've totally did a 180 and changed the name of everything second semester, and it makes it a little bit tougher, but it's just a small step back.
Ty Compton, you happy with your decision to go into college coaching?
Absolutely. I sit back and think, what I would do if I wasn't coaching college basketball, and really have a tough time with that. I'm not sure I'm cut out for a whole lot of things. And I got a communications degree. My wife has a communications degree. She's using her degree.
Sure.
And I guess I'm using mine to a certain extent. There's a lot of communication skills that go into this, but I'm not sure what I'd be doing if I wasn't coaching.
Well, communication skills. I'm thinking officials. Kelly Wells, he communicates with the officials from time to time. I've heard that. So, you obviously, what are some future plans? Where do you plan to end up 5 years, 10 years from now?
Obviously I like to be a head coach. I'm 26 years old. Not a lot of people want to turn their program over to a 26-year-old. Sure. Just kind of got to buy my time, and I love being in Pikeville. It's meant everything to me. I know Coach mentioned finding his wife through basketball. I found mine through Pikeville. Met my wife here. I've been here for 6 years now. It's close to my home, close to my family. Love my time here in Pikeville, and don't have any immediate plans to leave. But I would love to be a head coach at some point.
You've got a great example to follow in Coach Kelly Wells. You're tuned to the Kelly Wells Show. We talk UPike men's basketball. The coach will return in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. The Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. The Kelly Wells Show presented by Appalachian Wireless and rejoined now by the head coach of the U-Pike men's basketball program. 150 plus wins now at U-Pike, and Kelly Wells off to a 5-1 start. St. Catherine and Campbellsville coming up this week, still ranked 7th in the country, and looking for big things out of this U-Pike program this year. Ty Compton, big part of that. He's come a long way in his time on your staff, I know.
Well, he started out playing JV basketball for us, and kind of we encouraged him nicely to come on the coaching side of things, and he learned how to work hard. He learned the value of hard work from his parents, and he's just been a great asset. Along with him and the staff that we've put together, I can't be more proud of the work that they do each day and the way they change kids' lives every day and helping them with their education as well as the basketball side of things. But, you know, you meet your best friends through coaching, and I consider Ty one of those. And I've always said that I'm not going to have a staff that I'm not good friends with because you hang out so much with them. And
sure.
I respect what he's done. I respect what he's doing. And he's going to be a great head coach someday. I hope it's not too soon, but he's going to be certainly a great head coach someday.
Let's keep him on the sideline, mentor him for a while, and then we'll look forward to that first Ty Compton versus Kelly Wells matchup, student versus teacher.
I'm not going to ever play any of my assistants because I've got too much pride in that. But we've got 5 guys that are out there now, Division I assistants, or former assistants of mine, and I've got 3 other guys that are head high school coaches now. And
sure.
Just love to see them. Just as I like to see our players graduate and go professional or do whatever they do, and it's just exciting for the coaches when they have those opportunities too.
Coach Kelly Wells on the road the next 2, back home December 13th. A little bit of a break, so we will not see you. We'll see you for a show, but won't see the team again here in Pikeville before December 13th. But I know season tickets still available. Tickets available at the Appalachian Wireless box office at the Expo Center. We need a good crowd in here to support this team. This team with championship expectations, and folks need to get on the bandwagon early.
No question. The community's been great to us. They always have been. And we'd love to see you come out, and you're going to see great doubleheaders. We've got 19 home games now. I think it's down to 15 home games. All our games from here on out are men's and women's doubleheaders. Sure. And I know Coach Mack would appreciate the attendance just as we would. And we do things together, and we want to support this school. And basketball's our front porch to school and to try to get out. And we want to make it as good as we can be. And we'd love to see you out.
Coach Kelly Wells, thanks as always for your time, and let's get to this week on the road at St. Catherine and Campbellsville.
That's the game plan. We're looking forward to the opportunity.
Next time we talk, we want to be 7-1. You've been tuned to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless, talking U-Pike men's basketball. Stay tuned, the debut of the Joanna McNamee Show, where we talk U-Pike women's basketball. It's next on Z1075 and PikeTV.com.